Hey everybody, Felix Staffelbecker here. Just a quick thought. People are starting to talk about inflation. It's starting to become a buzzword and starting to capture a lot of blame for basically anything and everything that can divert away from the actual source of the problem. And that is central banking and heavy top-down government controls with control of the money supply. And that's really the problem. But those people will sit there and tell you it's the inflation and the Putin price hike and all these things that are becoming buzzwords. But think about it like this. If somebody comes to your house and sets it on fire, pours a bunch of gasoline everywhere and sets it on fire, and the police show up and they say, well, it looks like there was some gasoline that was used, and if there wouldn't have been so much gasoline, that fire would have been a lot less, and we need to focus on that gasoline and maybe even put restrictions on gasoline and really hamp down on the gasoline because it really made that fire a lot worse and all this stuff. So basically, you're discounting the fact that there's somebody bringing a ton of gasoline to a place to set it on fire. You're discounting the fact that somebody else was doing that, and then you're putting the blame where it doesn't belong. Well, that's exactly what's going on in the economy when we've got financial economic arsonists running around setting these fires using free money printing to literally attack every avenue of life. I mean, you see Warren Buffett doing it by discriminating against black people for buying houses. You see it in all types of ways playing out. And then the same people who have access to this free money that is causing all of this inflation are saying, oh, inflation's the problem. We got to blame inflation. But they're not doing anything about it because they know they're the ones causing it. They're the ones benefiting from it. Remember, we talked about this years ago, even before the pandemic. There was literally people buying houses using free money. So say you got $50,000 for free. You bought a house for $50,000. Well, since the pandemic, that house is now worth $250,000. So you could sell it for $250,000. So you literally just got $250,000 for free. So literally, they're benefiting from the inflation because they're inflating the assets that they bought for super cheap, and then now they're dumping them on the market, making a ton of money to people who are unsuspecting taking these loans. Now they're going to overcompensate and allow black people to have any home loan, and it's going to be a repeat of the 2008 crisis because not just black people, everybody are going to rush into homes that they can't afford, that they're not would be qualified for under regular conditions, and then this is all in hopes by the banks, by design, to collapse the economy, get people to default on their loans, allow banks to come in and seize their assets, and then you go into an apartment and own nothing and you'll be happy. This is the World Economic Forum model. This is a scientific plan of economic destruction that has been in the works, and it goes on globally all the time, and now we're seeing it actually affect people in real ways to where they're finally noticing it. Because it takes decades and decades of doing this and setting up infrastructure to be able to have a controlled collapse, the way we're having controlled collapse. They're raising interest rates to be able to, because basically they're done, the top rich people are done buying everything that they need. They're now going to raise the rates, make it more expensive to print money, more expensive to pay back loans, more expensive to pay back debts, which cause more defaults, which will cause everything to go from this bubble stage to an absolute crater. And then those same people who've been sitting on the sidelines with piles and piles of cash Warren Buffett has record amounts of cash sitting on the sidelines. His companies have record amounts of cash. Everybody, Apple, everybody has record amounts of cash. When everything goes to absolute crater, they will buy everything up for pennies on the dollar. And people who were invested in homes will lose all their money, all their equity, all the stuff, and then they'll be destitute, begging, and those people will say, okay, you can come rent from us. You can come live in your house that we own now, and you have to do what we say. And so there'll still be plenty of homes, but you won't own any of them. You'll rent them all, and you'll literally have money automatically withdrawn. It'll automatically go up in price all the time. But this is how inflation is taking the blame somehow, but not being fixed. So, I mean, it's so convoluted that, people aren't going to understand it. And it sounds crazy, especially because, the average person that you're talking to isn't involved in this. And that's where the propaganda comes in, because you're going against the person that you see, but that person has zero to do with it. If you're interacting with people who are being taken advantage of by this system, then you're not part of the in crowd. You're not part of the group that's benefiting from this. You're not part of the group that's implementing this top-down structure that EOS will be a central part of. Don't forget that. That's why we buy so much EOS. That's why we try to hoard EOS, because when this new system is in place, we need to be at the very top. That way we can reach down and help a ton of people and make them even more mad. So we can literally be the back door and try to help as many people as possible once this takes off. Literally boomerang and use Satan's system against him. So I just want to put that out there. People don't understand inflation. It's going to catch up to them. So, Stoffel Baker out.